There are many times when I'm working in Illustrator when I get a file from someone else or I actually create a file where everything on the page is actually in one giant group. This can be somewhat frustrating, especially if you need to change one thing on a single object in the group. And if you don't know about something called isolation mode, you would find yourself constantly grouping and ungrouping things in order to gain access to the parts of the artwork that you need access to. But in this movie, I'm going to show you how to use isolation mode to easily access parts of your artwork without having to break any of the groupings that you have. So first things first, let's talk about getting into isolation mode and what it actually is. When you have a large group of objects like the one you see here, anytime you double-click on any piece of this artwork, you will see this light gray bar appear across the top. You will also see that all of your selections seem to disappear. That's because you have secretly broken a boundary. That group boundary that you created by grouping all those objects together, you've basically gone one layer inside of it. So you're now inside of that group and you're able to select individual objects within that group. Now, that's not to say that there won't be other nested groups inside of the overall group, which in this case, there are several, but at least you have access to these individual objects. If you need to get access to one of these nested groups, all you have to do is double-click on that group. As you start to narrow down into these groups, you will slowly start to see things gray out in the background. So you see here everything kind of fades out, and the only object that's really, truly at full opacity is the airplane right here. That's because I'm in isolation mode for that particular group. You can also see at the top of this gray bar here that you have a little trail of breadcrumbs to get you back out. So if I wanted to get back out one level, I could click right here on this containing group. And once I do that, I'm now back to where I can click on everything. I could also exit back out to the icons layer, and now everything is grouped together. And then if I want out of isolation mode completely, I click that little arrow and I'm out. So let's try that one more time. Let's say, for instance, that we needed to change something on the umbrella icon right up here at the top. Let's click on it. You can see everything is selected. Double-click once to enter isolation mode. Select double-click again to enter isolation mode for that particular shape. And then let's zoom in here. And let's see what we have access to. So we have basically the ability to click on either one of these objects. Well, maybe I want to even go deeper than that. I want to change something on the umbrella. Double-click again, and then double-click again. And then finally, I have access to these little red stripes. So look how many levels it took me to get to the red stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels it took me to get into those red stripes. But I now have the ability to change those. So I could go in to the swatches panel and apply a different color if I wanted to. And then once I've applied my new color, all I have to do, if I want to go back out group by group, I can, or I can just click this little arrow right here and it will take me back out one level at a time. If you want to instantly jump out of isolation mode, just double click anywhere on the artboard and it will automatically jump you out of isolation mode. So the next time that you get yourself a document from somebody and it has several groups or one big group like this and several nested groups in the middle of it, I highly recommend that you use isolation mode as a means of getting to these other shapes and objects because it's so much of a pain to have to group and regroup and ungroup and all that stuff that just makes for a big headache at the end of the day. Using isolation mode gets you in and gets you out as quickly as possible.